2001 Maniacs. There's a new subset in the horror genre, and it's a little bit rough around the edges. It's a little profane. It's a little vaudeville. In fact, the director and I were calling it Splatstick instead of slapstick for a while. But I know Tim was Michael DeLuca's assistant back at New Line Cinema when Michael DeLuca, the great producer, was at New Line Cinema. And I'd seen him around, and he wrote that for me. So it's really hard to say no when somebody creates a role. I wish I would have had time clearance to do the second one. I think Tim, I don't want to say he got desperate, but he got frustrated with the financing and just went ahead and made it with the money he had raised. With a great actor, Bill Moseley, wonderful actor, that I much admire, and in fact I'm developing a script with a role for him in it right now. But I love that role because it was created for me. And, you know, I came to Hollywood wanting to be Warren Oates from Sam Peckinpah's Great Britain. I've had a great, you know, I love meeting with the fans, and you know, it's great that fans love all kinds of movies, and I love genre, and I learned to respect genre again from Wes as a child. I mean, every Saturday, my mates and I would run down to the double matinee, and we would see, you know, Horrors of the Black Museum or Forbidden Planet. We love the great horror films and the sci-fi films and the fantasy films. I mean, Ray Harryhausen was our god. And, you know, so today I've had 5 or 6 compliments. Usually I get 1 a year, but it must have been re-released or something. But I've had 5 or 6 compliments on Stay Hungry, which is my 2nd starring role in my 3rd movie. And I work with an unknown kid named Arnold Schwarzenegger, a beginner named Jeff Bridges, a little girl named Sally Field who'd only done television. That's 2 Oscar winners out of 3 people I've just mentioned. Joanna Cassidy from Blade Runner. This is the motel, kids. Scatman Crothers next door on the other side. And we worked on this film, Stay Hungry, and it's my best fight scene ever. And I'm really proud of when people discover a late movie or on cable, because I have a great fight scene in that with a pool cue. I also sink a 5-bank pool shot in that in a master scene with 2.5 pages of dialogue. So I'm pretty proud of that film, and that was a great process for me. I grew up on that set. I was gone 3 months. I fell in love with a girl singing jazz in a nightclub at night. You know, I slow danced with Sally Field and with a team. It was just a great experience, and I learned a lot from working with Jeff, because Jeff makes every take a little fresh, but it's still professionally alike enough that it works for the camera and the sound and the fellow actor. And I learned a lot working with Mr. Bridges on that, and you certainly know. I mean, you look at careers, and if you really had to count all the movies together, I guess Jeff Bridges and Donald Sutherland are 2 of the most amazing careers that any actor could want. And you start naming off their really great movies. I mean, you guys are young here, but people forget about Starman, The Last Picture Show, you know, let alone Tron, let alone the last 2 things he just won Oscars for, let alone True Grit, let alone his new one that he has out, which people think is a little too Men in Black, but he's very funny in it. He's just a wonderfully versatile actor. I don't know if you ever saw Arlington Road with Tim Robbins, but it's a great paranoid right-wing thriller, so you should check that out. So Stay Hungry is a project, both the process and the finish. You all know Alice, Dirty Alice, right? God, I remember I had to take a girlfriend 100 years ago. Her brother was going to Vietnam, and all they wanted to do was see Alice Cooper. This is when Alice first started out. He was biting the heads off chickens like Ozzy Osbourne, or pretending to. But magic, illusion. Anyway, Alice, you know, first of all, he's really smart, and he really rocks, and he really loves rocks, but he loves theatrical rock. And the 3rd thing is, Alice Cooper in real life is like, it's like hanging out with Arnold Palmer. You know, he's like gentleman golfer. You know, he would be not out of place at St. Andrews or at that wonderful golf club up here in Wales and just north of Penarth. Celtic. Yeah, that's a beautiful course. But I mean, he's like, and so he dresses that way. So like when I run into Alice, I'll be out in the San Fernando Valley and they'll stick me in a really nice hotel because I'm looping a cartoon voice or something. And I'll run into Alice in the lobby, and he's dressed like Bing Crosby. I mean, he's got the pale cardigan on, he's got the white slacks with the white belt, and the golf shoes. He's still got the long hair and the complexion of a vampire, but he looks like, a rich Pebble Beach golfer. So there's that dichotomy to Alice that's really interesting. But he's a funny guy, funny, smart guy. I got to go to, he works at night, so I got to go lay down some of my Freddy laugh on one of his albums, Welcome to My Nightmare. And it was like, I think Linda Ronstadt was there, and I think just sitting around at this studio in the Valley, and Al Cooper, the famous blues musician, and I'm trying to think, I think Jeff Beck was there. It's just this amazing, and I'm like, I just couldn't believe all these guys were there, and I'm in the back just doing my crazy laugh. So Alice could mix it in whenever he wanted, but he sent me the gold record. So I have the gold record in my office from Welcome to My Nightmare, which is, when you put all those stories together, probably a pretty valuable little. I want that little Chucky. I want to check that little Chucky's ass. I'm getting old. That's about the only one I can take anymore. I could still play Freddy. I got maybe one more in you. They want to reboot the franchise, which means they might want to make 2 more, 3 more, I don't know, all of them, write new ones, create new ones. So I'm not good. I wouldn't be, if they wanted me to do one, 5 years from now, I couldn't do it. And if they start using me again, then they have to change horses in midstream. And so when New Line Cinema sold all of its rights to Time Warner hired Michael Bay and Platinum Dunes to reboot some of the franchises they had acquired. And that's what's going to happen. Now, when they did the last remake of the first one, it opened really big on a Friday, and then nobody went to see it Saturday or Sunday, which really hurt them. And then it got terrible reviews. They didn't get one thing. Now, part of that, I think, is quite simply, no one has taken into consideration the life span that classics and even old movies and rediscovered movies are getting off of DVD, Blu-ray, high-def, cable, on-demand now. My business manager made a great movie 10 years ago called Suicide Twins with one of the kids from Big Bang Theory, Johnny Galecki, Chris Walken. How much we love Chris Walken. Dennis Lee, great cast. The boy from Powder, just terrific cast. Nobody went to see it. Well, it played on cable at night, and it began to get a cult status. But still, it's already been sold. Nobody's making any money. Quentin Tarantino sees it one night on Cinemax, loves it, puts it in a box set with Jackie Brown has the voice. So now it's a hit, and my agent and my business manager finally got the big check after all these years. But that's this lifespan that can happen now with new technology. So, Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. They bring it out, yet there's probably a 3rd generation of kids who have a man cave, or their father has a man cave, or they have like a little screening room, or their dad has put up a 45-inch flat screen over the fireplace. His dad wants his money's worth of life. And they sit there and they can pump in a new Blu-ray edition of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 still holds up, on TV, and Freddy vs. Jason still holds up. It's only 9 years old. So, when you watch those all alone on a 40-inch flat screen with a nice Blu-ray high-def system, and you're 12 years old, or you're 13 years old, or you're 14 years old, that movie's a good movie. That works for you. And then you go see the new one, and it's a little disappointing because you've fallen in love with the old one. They did not account for that. They probably should have.
Those are not all the questions. This has been cut down to fit onto my YouTube channel because for some reason 15 minutes or longer doesn't go on. If I find it in full, I'll gladly put a link in. But as of now, no link. hope you enjoyed watching these questions. I hope you can find it all somewhere else.